Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, the Goodest of boys have arrived in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, Purrely and Purrely. Both of these cards are fantastic and facilitate the strategy of Purrely, that being the Goodest of boys ranking up into big unaffected bungas. However, this deck functions very differently from a lot of other decks that just aim to go into a big bungus, and let me explain this. Now, first of all, this is a more complicated deck, so I'm going to go more in depth on each of the cards and just kind of give you a simple rundown because it is fairly complicated in the way that it functions. Anyway, yeah. So let's quickly do the card by card and the explanations, starting off with the Purrelys. Purrely and Purrely both have similar effects. Purrely on summon, non-once per turn. Actually, there's no once per turn on basically any of the cards except for this one, and this one. Yeah. So I think only those three. Everything else is like a soft once per turn, so don't really worry about it. Anyway. Purrely, on summon, excavates the top three, adds a Purrely spell trap. Also, you can reveal a quick play and special summon the corresponding monster from the extra deck. So happiness is tied to happy memory, beauty is tied to pretty memory, plump is tied to delicious memory, and Purrely Noir is tied to sleepy memory. We do not have Noir as of yet, or Purrely Noir. If we did, this deck would be insane and would be by far the best deck. That's how good just having that card is. So, there you go. Moving on, Purrely allows you to add a non-quick play spell, a non-quick play Purrely card from your deck to your hand. So it can add the Purrely, it can add the Street, it can add the Yeep, and it can add the My Friend. Okay? Cool. Next up, Street allows your special summoned monsters to be protected the turn they're summoned, or at least protected from targeting. They can also special summon from deck or grave a level 1 Purrely if your Exe monster leaves the field. And during the end phase, it attaches a quick play spell to an Exe monster you control, a Purrely Exe monster you control. Great. We're playing 2 of that. We're maxing out on both of the other Purrelys. We're maxing out on My Friend Purrely because you pay 5 to reveal 3 Purrely cards and add 1 randomly to your hand. Also, if a face-up Purrely Exe leaves the field, you can target up to 3 differently named Purrely quick plays and add them back to your hand. Or in your grave, add them back to your hand. Right? Fantastic. Right? All in all, great card. It basically is the only way to get a guaranteed search in this deck. Purrely does search this card, but this is the only way to get like a guaranteed search of any of your quick plays. So there's that. Next up, we have all of the quick plays, which are they all have the same effect to special summon by discarding a card after their effect resolves. So do keep that in mind. Also, there's no cost on basically all of these except for maybe targeting a card. Yeah, there's no cost. Anyway, the point is, each one of these cards has an effect, a unique effect. Then they have the special summon effect, which all of them are the same. Special summon a level 1 Purrely from the deck. Do keep in mind, it's from the deck, not from hand, deck, or grave, or something like that, because they're already insane. And then they have an effect for it being attached as a material. So, Happy Memory allows you to protect your card from being destroyed by card effect the first time. You just target a card, it's protected the first time it'd be destroyed by card effect. And then its attach effect is it gives an additional attack each battle phase. So it gives an additional attack. That's basically it. Pretty Memory, each player gains 1,000. Not the greatest effect. However, the attached effect is you can send one of the cards you control to the grave, target a card your opponent controls, and attach it to this card as a material. Fantastic effect. Fantastic effect. Delicious Memory has the effect to protect your monster from being destroyed by battle. It just can't be destroyed by battle that turn. Until the end of the next turn. On top of that, your monster gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to it. So it can allow your monsters to get very big. This is notable with Happiness. So do keep that in mind as well. And then Sleepy Memory, which isn't tied to any of the extra deck monsters, has the ability to make any damage you take become 0, or the next time you would take battle or effect damage, it becomes 0, and during the standby phase, if it's attached, you draw a card. Now, none of these are once per turns. None of those effects are exclusive. So if you have multiple delicious memories, your monster becomes massive. If you have multiple sleepy memories, your monster can draw up to 3 cards per turn during the standby phase, because it's all once per turn and not a hard once per turn. Pretty memory, same thing. Happy, same thing. You can gain multiple attacks, right? Fantastic. That's what makes Purrely really good. Next up, we have Yeep. Yeep allows you to just special summon the Noir more effectively and recycles resources by shuffling back the Purrely monsters in the grave, which then allows you to special summon because they're now in the deck instead of in the grave. Fantastic. Moving on to the extra deck, we're going to quickly go through the cards that are not in the Purrelys. We have a Slacker Magician, a Princess Sprite. This card's actually very good, being able to potentially add a Spell Trap, which is fantastic because it's like half of your deck. We also have Ensemble Blue because it's a rank 1 that actually could end up being summoned on for an end board. We have 1 Zeus. If we could play multiple, we would. This card is absolutely goated in this deck. We have 1 Anima and 1 Azalea. As for the Purrelys, all of the E-Purrelys have the same effect, where if a if a Purrely Quick Play spell card is activated, you can attach the card from the field to this card as material, then they all do something. Happiness bounces a spell trap your opponent controls. Beauty changes a battle position, and Plump allows you to banish a monster until the end phase. So, all in all, pretty good effects. That's not really that big of a deal, so there's that. They all do have other effects as well. Happiness at the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, it can add a Purrely card from your deck to your hand, and if it has Happy Memory, it halves the attack of a face-up monster. So they all have a corresponding effect, depending on if they have the correct memory attached to them. So if this one has Happiness, it halves attack. Beauty can target an effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects, and if it has Pretty, it becomes basically Imperm, which is great. And then we have Plump, which can target up to 2 spell traps in the graves and attach them to this card as material. This is the best way to get materials onto the field. We're playing 2 apiece of all of these. So there you go. And then it's a quick effect if you have Delicious Memory. We're also playing the 2 Noir. Noir is fantastic. It can be ranked up if you have a rank 2 monster with 5 or more materials. So basically, if you have a whole, a very large one of your E-Purrelys, you can special summon the X-Purrely Noir, and then it's also unaffected if it has 5 or more materials. Then you can detach 2 materials, target a card your opponent controls, and put it on target controls or in their graveyard, and put it onto the bottom of the deck. This is a quick effect if you have a level 1 Purrely monster attached as material. Now notably, that's not a once per turn. So if this has 6 material, you can do that 3 times, which is wild. It's basically Zeus. It's basically Zeus, except a little bit more targeted and doesn't have to deal with your own board, which is great. Oh, also it's technically unaffected. So there you go. That's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, here we are going second, and honestly, this deck actually excels at going second, mostly due to the fact that we are playing a myriad of hand traps, if you noticed in that deck profile. So yeah, that's one of the good things about it. I wouldn't say that it's better at going second, but you definitely could build a going second version, because, hey, Zeus is really good, and this deck makes Zeus efficiently. Anyway, we max-seeded my opponent, so they didn't really get to do anything, but you'll see that that doesn't really matter too much. They do have the Magnema as well, which does matter, so keep that in mind. They're also going to maxi me, and I'm like, okay, I guess we have to do something here. We're going to go and activate the Happy Memory here in order to special summon a monster. The reason I go for the Happy Memory is because I want either the Sleepy Memory or the Pretty Memory attached as material. They're a little bit better, but that's why. We're going to pitch the Veiler to the grave in order to summon the Purrely. The reason I go for the Purrely here as opposed to the regular Purrely is mostly due to the fact that, one, I actually want Pretty Memory, realistically, on my side of the field. Or I should say, E-Purrely Beauty, because it's a little bit better. But the most important thing is that I want the field spell. The field spell happens to be very good, and that's what I want mostly. Anyway, we're going to activate the My Friend Purrely, and we're going to reveal the actual street here, because I did actually want also the Yeep. So I ended up grabbing the Yeep off of the Lily, and then off of the My Friend Purrely, we grabbed the street. So yeah, there you go. We're going to then activate the effect of our Purrely in order to target our Happy Memory, to which my opponent will go for the Magnema. Anyway, that's not that big of a deal because we are just going to then special summon out our happy memory and allow them to draw a card. Or E Purrely Happiness. There's not really much more that I'm willing to do under Max C here, but that's fine. I'm just going to set 3 and pass. There's no point in going to the battle phase. But my opponent's going to then activate the Tidying, trying to deal with the Happiness, and then just bounce my straight. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. They're also going to add the Druid Swarm and pass the turn there. So, interesting. Tidying. Okay. During the draw phase, I'm actually going to activate my Pretty Memory as well as my Sleepy Memory, just to kind of get them under the Happiness so that they can have those effects. And then also just to put them under there for the Yeet. I'm also going to bounce their spell trap because they allowed me to do this, so there you go. We now get to activate. We actually get to activate that secret effect of happiness. We've drawn to the Fenris, which is pretty nice, but not that big of a deal. And of course, they have the branded Alibur into. Yeah, I'm not really surprised. However, I am surprised by what they ended up sending. They sent Driver, which is just weird to me. But yeah, I guess they already have a Lubellion, so there's no real point in not going for that. But whatever. My opponent's then going to fuse into the Lubellion. So Albion into Lubellion, pitching a Dragon Maid, and at this point I'm like, oh, it's Dragon Maid branded. Yeah, okay. Anyway, out comes the Mirror Jade, and I'm like, okay, this is a perfect time to yeep. They activated the effect. At this point, I can just target my guy, tag out into the Noir, which is big unaffected Bungus, and now they have to deal with that. So they're going to try and target it. It's not going to do anything. They're going to go for the Bestial Lubellion, and I'm like, I really don't want that on the field in order to, generate more advantage with their Bestials. So I'm just going to shuffle that away. And then out comes their Chamber Dragon Maid. Chamber Dragon Maid then searches out the Changeover, and they activate the Changeover, and I go, I know you have 2 Bestials in hand. No shot. You also have a Dragon Maid here. This is probably just branded. I really highly doubt that you have another Dragon Maid, and so I take a little bit of a bet. I'm a little bit of a betting man. I say, if Shio hits the field, I do kind of just lose, so I do need to deal with this. And so I decided to activate the effect of my Noir here in order to shuffle away the Chamber Dragon Maid and just pray. And it worked. They didn't have another Dragon Maid, so I am fine. Anyway, they're going to go for another Magma. They're going to walk into our Noir with the Mirror Jade, and that does allow me to go 1, 2, and 3 and grab back the Sleepy Memory, Pretty Memory, as well as the Happy Memory. So now we have all of those, and since we've already activated Sleepy Memory this turn, I actually take no damage. Fantastic. Now we know that they have the Sarnier and the Druid Swarm in their hand. They're also going to set the Retribution, which is a bit of a problem, but not that big of a deal, and then they're going to add up the Albaz. Honestly, kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. But that's fine. We're gonna go to the draw phase and grab up the Purrely. Special summon out the Fenris effect to activate its, or grab up the second Fenris, and now we can go for the My Friend. What we end up revealing is Triple Delicious Memory, because it's the only one that we don't have, and it's also the one that actually allows me to threaten the board in terms of attack damage. So yeah, there's that. We're gonna go and normal summon the Purrely and grab up a second My Friend Purrely. The reason that we go for the second My Friend is because it's something that I actually don't care about discarding. So there you go. We're gonna go for the Happy Memory, to which my opponent will then quickly Retribution, which is terrible. Here's the thing. Yes, this does have the effect to special summon. However, it's not a hard once per turn, and honestly, putting it into the graveyard means that I can still special summon my monster. Realistically, the negate would have been either on the Purrely or on the Purrely, whichever one, just negate one of those guys. But alas, it's whatever. You can negate whatever you want. It's fine. They're going to shuffle back their 2 monsters and then negate my effect. And I'm like, that's okay. Anyway, Purrely effect is going to activate. They are going to then bounce the Magnemite as well as my Purrely, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm just going to activate my Delicious Memory, preventing my Fenrir from being destroyed by battle, and then just going into the Purrely. Purrely effect is then going to activate and reveal the top 3 cards, and hey, that's a Pretty Memory, which is fantastic. So I'm going to grab up that additional Pretty Memory, and then I'm going to activate the effect of my Pretty Memory, revealing the Pretty Memory, activate the effect of my Purrely, revealing the Pretty Memory, and going into Beauty, attaching that Pretty Memory. We can then activate the Beauty effect in order to send to the graveyard the My Friend Purrely. It's basically done its job at this point, and now attaching the Mirror Jade. Now I could have attached the back row and then walked in with the Fenrir, banishing face down at the Mirror Jade, which would have been a little bit better. So bit of a misplay on my part, but at this point my brain was already fried. So anyway, I activate another quick play, and my opponent concedes, going, I can't beat that. So good game. Alright, here we are once again going second, and once again with a Maxi in my hand in the draw phase. We're going to fire that and pass. And my opponent entirely passes the turn. And I go, okay, that's fine. We do have too many Purrelys in hand, but that's fine. We're going to reveal a Sleepy Memory, so at the very least we get something off of this Purrely. And why did I go for the Purrely instead of the Purrely? Well, mostly because I actually would then have something to activate and go for it with the Purrely effect. I could at least use it to go into the Plump, which could then go into Zeus, or at the very least something. But we do end up revealing another name, so we're going to go for the Purrely here off of the special summon with the Sleepy. Then we can go for the My Friend. We're going to reveal 3 cards, which happen to be the Purrely Memory, and then we're going to activate the effect. And I chain here like a dingus, because I'm trying to actually activate the effect and reveal it, and instead I'm chaining because it's a quick play. And anyway, basically what ends up happening is I'm a goofball, but it's fine, I can make this work. So I reveal the Delicious Memory. I'm not going to special summon off of the Purrely Pretty Memory, but that's okay, because now we can go for the Purrely to grab up the Beauty and basically make the Beauty anyway. We can then go for the Plump and attach another material to it, and then proceed to the battle phase. And I do a little bit of a whoopsie here as well, by instead using the Plump to go into the Zeus. Now, should I have gone for the Beauty? Arguable, hard to say, but in all honesty, probably. And the reason for this is because Plump would have been able to draw me an additional card off of its Sleepy Memory. However, I don't know if that's too necessary. Having a negate is pretty nice, but all in all, we're just going to pass on that. We do have follow-up with the Purrely in hand, so I don't really care if my board does get Zeus. And at this point, it's Photon. It's Photon. Alright. As long as they weren't dead, I think that they have a good chance going first or going second. But they're going to do their whole spiel. Out comes the Photon Emperor. They're going to grab up the Galaxy Expedition. And then out comes Galaxy Soldier. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I know that card is a card to negate. And up until this point, I haven't really had a good choice of cards to negate. So I'm just like, eh. And I don't really want to Zeus until I use this negate. But out comes this card. I'm like, that's a fantastic negate. I will choose to negate that. So I'm going to negate. They're going to activate the effect and special summon out a Afterglow. And I'm like, that's 2 8s. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to have 2 8s on the field. So I banish, or I deal with everything. And then they play this absolutely absurd card. Have you read Trance? This card's crazy. You pay 2k to just... It's a free rank 8. It's a free rank 8. It's a free rank 8. It's kind of crazy. But, alas, I have a second activation of Zeus. So I just deal with the board. And at this point, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to lethal, but I still have to get there. So I do draw the My Friend Purrely, which is kind of pretty nice. We're going to reveal triple Happy Memory and grab up the Happy Memory. We're then going to go for the Purrely, grab up the Street, and then Purrely is going to activate its effect in order to go into the Beauty. And at this point, this is lethal, so I'm not going to, take any more time. I'm just going to go straight to the battle phase and lethal. Yeah, turns out 2 activations of Zeus is pretty good. Alright, and here we are going first, and Gamma, you'll love to see it. So we're going to start off here, and, our Pretty Memory does resolve, so I'm just going to pitch the Gamma, because at this point, it's useless. And there goes my opponent's Ash Blossom, and I'm like, you know what? They outplayed me. They knew not to negate the Ash Blossom, or with Ash Blossom, the Pretty Memory. That's fine. We can still go for the Purrely effect here, so we're going to special summon out our Beauty, because we did happen to send the Pretty Memory to the graveyard. I'm actually just going to set the Delicious Memory, because I do have Maxi, and at this point, that's basically all that I'm hoping for. We're also going to attach from the grave the Sleepy Memory. Out comes the Maxi. I'm just going to activate this in the standby phase, and then I'm also going to draw a card, which happens to be my friend Purrely. My opponent is playing... Oh crap, probably the worst deck that this could be. I just have a singular, basically, Imperm at this point, and I'm really hoping that I draw something good. Now, I know what you're saying. This is Maxi. You have 9,000 life points. This is Maxi. You're just gonna win, of course, right? And I only show wins anyway, so it's not really that surprising. But the reason I am showing you this is because of, well, you'll see it in a second. Mostly tech choices, right? There's a reason we're playing specific cards. I was previously playing Imperm. Now, Imperm's not bad, but because of Max C, it's less inviting to play Imperm, and instead more inviting to play something like Effect Veiler. Because imagine if I had Effect Veiler here instead of one of these Imperms, and I could just negate this Crystal Heart, and all of a sudden the game is not nearly as scary, right? Because to be fair, they could have gone into Update Jammer, into Access Code, and just OTK'd me, and I would have had nothing that I could have done there. Nothing I could have done, right? Because I only have the Delicious Memory, I have no hand traps that actually interact, and so that's a bit dangerous. Now, granted, they decided to not do that, and so because of that, they just end up conceding here off of the Purrely, and yeah, they just concede. Which, hey, Maxi, I get it, but this just kind of goes to show why I'm playing specific cards. I basically wanted as many hand traps that could be live under something like Maxi as I could, so instead of cutting, or instead of playing Imperm, which is far better in terms of a hand trap, right now, I just don't think it's worth it. In Purrely, specifically because of Maxi drawing you into better cards and allowing you to go for the Effect Veiler. So that's kind of why I'm playing Effect Veiler over Imperm. That's basically what this replay was. Alright, we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, this deck is complex. It's not something that I could really grasp fully at the very start, and it only took me, it took me like 10 games to really understand, and even up till this point, I really still don't understand what I'm doing, but I do have at least a better idea as to how I should be playing out the game and what I should be going for. Yeep is very important. This card is one of the reasons why the deck even functions, because guess what? Turns out Noir is very powerful. Yes, having something like an Imperm is nice, but honestly, Noir is far better. Being able to set up things like the Noir with Purrely, my friend Purrely, as protection is very important. On top of that, saving your quick plays is also very nice, because a lot of them actually have useful, relevant effects on your turn. Or sorry, on your opponent's turn. So they're not things that you just want to constantly be firing off. Specifically things like the Delicious Memory to give your card protection from battle, or Sleepy Memory to make it so that you're not like dying to just one really big attack from like an access code or something like that. So all in all, just things like that that are very important for this deck, and that aren't really intuitive. So there's that. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy and you learned something from this. Honestly, this deck is fantastic. It is a top tier strategy that isn't too expensive. It's relatively expensive. I mean, it's 8 URs that are necessary. You really don't need Fenrir. These hand traps could be anything. But yeah, there you go. All in all though, I like this deck. It's fun, it's interesting, it's different, it plays very, very different Yu-Gi-Oh! And I like that. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.